The Crimean War, a brutal conflict fought between 1853 and 1856, continues to fascinate historians today. This war, often overshadowed by other 19th-century conflicts, was a pivotal moment in European history, shaping the geopolitical landscape in ways that are still felt today. It was a war that pitted the Russian Empire against a coalition of European powers, including Great Britain, France, and the Ottoman Empire. This coalition was formed not just out of mutual interest, but also out of a shared desire to curb Russian expansionism and maintain the balance of power in Europe. At the heart of this conflict lay a complex web of imperial ambitions, religious tensions, and strategic rivalries. The war was as much about protecting trade routes and spheres of influence as it was about religious and cultural dominance. One figure looms large in this story: Louis-Napoleon Bonaparte, Napoleon III, Emperor of the French. His role in the Crimean War was not just that of a participant, but of a key architect of the conflict. Napoleon III's motivations in entering the Crimean War were manifold and inextricably linked to his desire to secure his dynasty and bolster France's position on the world stage. He saw the war as a means to assert French influence and to demonstrate his leadership both at home and abroad. Newly crowned Emperor Napoleon III craved legitimacy, both domestically and internationally. His recent rise to power needed validation, and a successful military campaign seemed the perfect way to achieve this. The Crimean War, he believed, presented a golden opportunity to achieve these goals. It was a stage upon which he could project French power and influence and secure his place in history. It was a chance to emulate the military glories of his illustrious uncle, Napoleon Bonaparte, and to restore France to its former glory. The echoes of his uncle's conquests were never far from his mind. This essay will delve into the reasons behind Napoleon III's decision to involve France in this distant conflict. We will examine the political, social, and personal factors that drove him to this decision. We will explore the key battles and events that shaped the war, his political maneuvering, and the war's ultimate impact on his imperial ambitions and European politics. The war's legacy is complex and far-reaching, influencing not just the immediate post-war period, but the broader course of European history. The Crimean War was a watershed moment in 19th-century European history, and understanding Napoleon III's role is crucial to grasping its full significance. His actions and decisions during this period offer valuable insights into the nature of power, ambition, and the intricate dance of international relations. To understand Napoleon III's motivations, we must first understand the weight of his inheritance. This inheritance was not just material wealth or titles, but a legacy steeped in the grandeur and turmoil of his uncle's reign. The nephew of Napoleon Bonaparte, he had inherited a legacy both exhilarating and burdensome. The shadow of his uncle loomed large over him, casting both light and darkness on his path. The name Bonaparte resonated with military glory, and Napoleon III felt keenly the pressure to live up to this legacy. The victories and the empire his uncle had built were legendary, and the expectations placed upon him were immense. He sought to reassert French power and prestige, which had been diminished following the Napoleonic Wars and the Congress of Vienna. The reshaping of Europe had left France in a weakened state, and Napoleon III was determined to restore its former glory. Napoleon III's domestic position was also precarious. The political landscape of France was fraught with instability, and his leadership was constantly under scrutiny. He had come to power in 1851 through a coup d'état, and his hold on power was far from secure. The coup had been a bold move, but it left him with many enemies and a fragile grip on the nation. He needed a foreign policy triumph, a demonstration of strength to solidify his grip on France. A successful military campaign would not only bolster his image, but also unify the country under his leadership. The Crimean War provided him with the perfect opportunity. It was a chance to showcase French military prowess and to assert France's influence on the global stage. A decisive victory, he believed, would win him the support of the French people and silence his critics. The war was not just a conflict, but a means to an end, a way to secure his position and legacy. Furthermore, Napoleon III harbored a deep-seated belief in his own destiny. He saw himself as a pivotal figure in history, destined to lead France to new heights. He saw himself as a man of destiny, chosen to lead France to greatness. This belief was not just personal ambition, but a conviction that he was the rightful heir to his uncle's legacy. The Crimean War, in his mind, was not merely a strategic conflict, but a stage upon which he could showcase his leadership and cement his place in history. It was an opportunity to prove his worth and to fulfill what he believed was his destiny. This belief in his own exceptionalism would prove to be a driving force behind many of his decisions throughout the conflict. His actions were guided by a vision of greatness, a desire to leave an indelible mark on the world. The Crimean War erupted against the backdrop of the Eastern Question, the complex and volatile issue of the Ottoman Empire's decline and the scramble for its territories by the European powers. Russia, with its long-held ambition of controlling the Bosporus and Dardanelles Straits, sought to expand its influence in the Balkans. This ambition brought it into direct conflict with the Ottoman Empire, which was already struggling to maintain its territorial integrity. Napoleon III saw Russia's ambitions in the east as a threat to the balance of power in Europe. He feared that a Russian victory over the Ottoman Empire would upset this balance and leave France isolated and vulnerable. Moreover, he recognized that the Ottoman Empire, for all its weaknesses, represented a valuable counterweight to Russian power in the region. France, under Napoleon III's leadership, thus joined forces with Great Britain and the Ottoman Empire to oppose Russia's expansionist aims. This alliance, while seemingly driven by a shared desire to contain Russia, was also fraught with its own internal tensions and competing agendas. Napoleon III, ever the pragmatist, navigated these complexities with skill, always mindful of his own objectives. The Crimean War was fought primarily on the Crimean Peninsula, a strategically important region in the Black Sea. This area, rich in history and geopolitical significance, became the epicenter of a conflict that would reshape the balance of power in Europe. It was a brutal and bloody conflict, marked by horrific casualties on both sides. The scale of suffering was immense, with thousands of soldiers succumbing to injuries, disease, and the harsh conditions of war. Napoleon III, while eager for a swift and decisive victory, found himself drawn into a protracted war of attrition. His initial optimism gave way to the grim reality of a drawn-out conflict, testing the resolve of his leadership and the endurance of his troops. The Crimean War is often remembered for its military blunders and the appalling conditions endured by the soldiers. From inadequate supplies to poor medical care, the hardships faced by the troops were a testament to the brutal nature of 19th century warfare. Despite the challenges, Napoleon III played a pivotal role in shaping the course of the war. His strategic decisions, though sometimes flawed, were crucial in maintaining the momentum of the French forces. He committed French troops to the conflict, and his generals played a key role in several important battles, including the Siege of Sevastopol. This siege, one of the war's most significant engagements, highlighted the determination and resilience of the French military. Napoleon III also proved to be a shrewd diplomat, maintaining the unity of the anti-Russian coalition despite the often conflicting interests of its members. His ability to navigate the complex web of alliances was instrumental in sustaining the war effort. However, the war also exposed the limitations of Napoleon III's grand strategy. The prolonged conflict strained resources and tested the limits of French military capabilities. The French army, though ultimately victorious, suffered heavy losses. The human cost of the war was staggering, with countless families mourning the loss of loved ones. The logistical challenges of fighting a distant war also proved to be a significant drain on French resources. Supplying troops across vast distances required immense effort and coordination, often leading to shortages and delays. The Crimean War, despite its eventual outcome, served as a stark reminder that military glory often came at a steep price. The lessons learned from this conflict would resonate for generations, shaping future military and diplomatic strategies.